Boom, what do you know? It's Daredevil related. Kinda. So we mentioned Brad Winderbaum earlier. You always know when there's a Disney Plus show coming out, because he is the head of Marvel TV, he is the Kevin Feige of Marvel TV, Brad Winderbaum. He's speaking about other Defenders. And he said, look, there's stuff that you can put on a comic page. If you can draw it, it can happen. But in real life, there's actors, there's contracts, it's getting everyone there, people have got busy schedules. But we are exploring doing other Defenders shows and bringing people back. So, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Danny Rand, obviously we know John's back, we know Charlie's back. But, first of all, if they was going to bring back any show from the Netflix era of Marvel, what would you want it to be? Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, because I think I know which mine would be.
I would very much. It's hard to say because, you know, other than Daredevil,
which is all I wanted.
Which is we got Daredevil. I think the thing is Daredevil's got like a perfect track record when it comes to this stuff. I mean, even in the Defenders show, he was like the only real good part of it. I mean, obviously with Elektra and stuff, that was cool as well. But the other Defenders, their shows don't have a perfect track record. So if I were to pick one, it's hard to say. If I had to pick one, and we get a solid, critically a great show, and it does what the first season did, it would be Jessica Jones. But if they are trying to do the Defenders again, what's that?
You need Tennant back for that. I don't think it'll ever capture it without David Tennant back.
Not necessarily. I think they just need a really interesting villain to put in there, and someone to really sort of have a nice contrast between the hero and the villain. So I don't necessarily agree with that. I know season 2 wasn't the strongest. I didn't watch it myself because I just heard nothing but bad things. So I didn't bother. I didn't want to waste my time because these other shows as well that I've heard are not so great. Luke Cage, Iron Fist. I started Luke Cage. I got halfway through, same as you, Colin. It was weird that we both got through halfway through the show and then we stopped watching it because they killed off.
I finished Luke Cage.
Oh, did you finish it?
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. I finished it. It's just I've always said the first 7 episodes with Cottonmouth are fucking spectacular. And then the dip in quality once Mahershala Ali is no longer in the show. Sorry, spoilers. Is insane. It's like a fucking like a flick of a switch, and it just went from fucking Daredevil quality and Jessica Jones season 1 quality to what the fuck am I watching? And that were kind of the tell-all tale for Iron Fist coming later on.
Yeah, and I'd say I'd want Luke Cage back if they're going to do the Defenders again. Or if they're... No. I want Luke Cage back if they want to do the Defenders again. But, ideally, if they're going to do the Defenders, I would love them to do Iron Fist good. That means I don't want an actor that's complaining about not wanting to do his own stunts and then a couple of years later saying, oh, I want to come back and be Iron Fist.
Yeah, I want a job.
No one fucking wants you.
Should have tried harder the first time.
There you go. And that's where I stand with it, because Iron Fist is such a cool character, and I'm kind of still not over how they kind of botched it with Defenders and even in the show, his own show. So Iron Fist or Luke Cage, one of them two. But if they're not doing the Defenders...
What about Together Heroes for Hire?
Jessica Jones.
What's that? What if they did a Heroes for Hire episode? I know they did a backdoor pilot for Heroes for Hire in Luke Cage Season 2. And do you know what? Out of all the episodes of Luke Cage Season 2, the one with Danny and Luke together was pretty good. I did enjoy it. Because obviously they've got their team. Well, their little duo, Heroes for Hire. But yeah, look, when it comes to the Defenders, and I've always said this, Jessica Jones Season 1 I think is just as good as any of the seasons of Daredevil. The first half of Luke Cage is just as good as well. Iron Fist Season 1 is complete dog shit. Defenders is fine. It's serviceable. It could have been a lot better though. It could have been. I've rewatched it recently, and it hurt me. The thing I didn't like about it is it could have been so much better than what it was.
I'll say this for Defenders. As the show Defenders, it's more of a bump in the road for when you're rewatching Daredevil, because it's kind of essential for watching Daredevil.
I've had lads at work watching Daredevil, and I say, when you get to end of season 2, I'm sorry, but you need to watch this. I'm not going to make you watch the other shows, but you're going to start season 3 and go, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah, when it comes to sort of between season 2 and 3, that's where like the dip happens with Daredevil, but it's not necessarily anything to do with it heavily involves Daredevil, the story does, but the show itself is not good, and that's not because of Daredevil.
Yeah.
It's just the story it's heavily connected to Daredevil. But anyways, I'll say this: just as long as if they're gonna do something like this, then don't involve something like that again, because if it fucking sucks, then we're gonna have another shit show, a season of whatever to watch to get through to, like, from season 1 to season 4, for example, for Daredevil. So let's not do that again, please, because that was not good. I mean, it was cool to see them all together on the screen, yeah. Was it done well? Fucking no. I mean, it was annoying even more so because you had Sigourney Weaver in there, and it was like, this is a fucking shit show. Like, I can't believe you've watched this.
Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, no, but look, if I were going to have one of the shows, I wouldn't do Jessica Jones, because I don't think you could make a season that was as good as season 1 without David Tennant in it, and his character's dead. I wouldn't do Luke Cage, because season 2 of Luke Cage were horrible. Do you know what? Out of the season 2s, out of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist had the better season 2 out of them 3. And it feel like the quality of the show coming up just a little bit. But if I was going to do anything, I'd say Heroes for Hire. But then again, it's weird, because Finn Jones were fantastic in Game of Thrones. And when it was coming up to it, Iron Fist, we've got the Game of Thrones guy. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, he's brilliant in that. He's only got a small role, but whenever he's on screen, he's great, and he just did not show up for Iron Fist at all. It seems like, I've got a Marvel job now. I've made it. Don't have to try. It's like the complete opposite of what Charlie Cox did. Like, Charlie Cox has made the fans fall in love with him.
I want to say as well, it's not necessarily Defenders, but it is connected to this Netflix Daredevil Defenders universe. Punisher, I wouldn't mind something with Punisher if there's something to be made. I don't want them just kind of bringing it out for the sake of just bringing out a Punisher show.
Yeah, we talked about this before, haven't we? Because we know Marvel is interested in doing Punisher season 3. It's just, I don't want to take Punisher away from Daredevil, because I love that duo. And when we see it this year, be the first time we've seen it, seeing them two characters together since 2016, nearly 10 years.
Yeah, and I don't want the Punisher show to be like, yeah, it's fine, but the Daredevil stuff is awesome, because then you're falling back into that. When Daredevil shows up, he makes everything better. Like, there's the exception of, obviously, No Way Home, but when Daredevil shows up in Echo, for example, or She-Hulk, it's like, that's all I want to watch. And, and like, I gave the shows a go. I did give She-Hulk a go. I found it quite not so great in some parts. It was a fun little show, whatever. Echo, really wanted to give it a go, but then it kind of like did the Secret Invasion thing where it just kind of went at the end, and that really sort of like brought it to a lower score for me overall. But and then obviously you've got Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is currently out on Disney Plus, the animated show,
which I've heard really good things about.
I watched the first 2 episodes. There's some bits in it I like, but the animation style is so fucking jarring. Like,
I've watched the first 4, episodes.
Yeah, I'm not on board with it.
I
I
quite
wanted to
enjoyed
give it a go. I like the Spider-Man. He's really grown on me. It's just everything else. I'm just like, I don't really care.
Yeah,
And like, I've not even watched. I've seen like the fight between Daredevil and Spider-Man, and that's
I
fine,
ain't
I
seen
guess.
that
But
yet.
yeah, that's a topic for another time. But yeah, like I said, Daredevil is. I don't want that to be what happens in the Punisher. I want Punisher to stand its own feet. It can have a Daredevil cameo. I'm not saying it can't have that, but it needs to be able to stand on its own feet
Yeah, no, definitely.
while having that cameo.
Right. While you were speaking of Spider-Man, I should have just said this. While speaking of Spider-Man, so let's just pretend we're speaking about Spider-Man again.
Hot dog.